Foreclosures are absolutely exploding right now, and it's not just because of high interest rates. Mass layoffs are hitting homeowners harder than anyone realizes. Nearly 1 million American homeowners are currently behind on their mortgage payments right now, and if you're not paying attention to what's really happening, you're about to miss the biggest real estate opportunity since 2010. Listen up, foreclosure filings just jumped 5.8% in the first half of 2025. Credit card delinquencies have hit 7.18%, the exact same level we saw right before the 2008 housing crash. And here's what's really terrifying. Nobody's talking about it. Look, we've been analyzing real estate markets for over 2 decades, and what we're seeing right now has us both excited and concerned. We're sitting on a powder keg that most people don't even realize exists. Now, I'm going to share with you 5 things today that will blow your mind. First, I'm going to show you why homeowners in Florida, yes, the hottest real estate market, are quietly panicking behind closed doors, and it has nothing to do with what you think. Second, I'll reveal which specific states are about to see foreclosures explode by 55% or more, and why Alaska and Rhode Island are leading this charge. Third, you're going to discover the shocking truth about who's really buying up all these distressed properties, and how you can get in on this action even if you only have $25,000 to your name. Fourth, I'll explain why tech workers making $200,000 plus a year are losing their homes in record numbers despite the low unemployment rate everyone keeps talking about. And finally, I'm going to give you the exact playbook that smart money investors are using right now to generate 127% returns in markets you've probably never heard of. But before we dive in, you need to understand something critical. While everyone's focused on mortgage rates and home prices, there's a completely different crisis brewing underneath the surface. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to profit from it. Let me start with some numbers that should wake you up. Through the first half of 2025, 187,659 properties received foreclosure notices. That's a 5.8% increase from last year. Now, before you say, that's not too bad, listen to this progression. March saw 35,890 filings, up 9%. April hit 36,033, up 13.9%. By August, we reached 35,697 filings, up 18% annually. You see that trend? It's accelerating. Please take 2 seconds to help me out and hit the like and subscribe if you find this video interesting so far. Each like, subscribe, and share helps support this channel and keeps us motivated to keep making you great content. Thank you. Now, let's continue. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Nationally, we're still sitting on just 0.23% of all housing units in foreclosure. That's historically low. We're still 89% below the 2010 peak. But that's exactly why this is such a massive opportunity. We're at the very beginning of this cycle. Let me tell you about those Florida homeowners I mentioned. Florida leads the nation with 1 foreclosure for every 267 homes. But here's what's really happening behind the scenes. Florida homeowners aren't just dealing with foreclosures from job loss or overextending. They're getting crushed by homeowner insurance premiums that have skyrocketed 25% annually. Property taxes in 3 Florida metros rank among the 5 highest increases nationwide since 2019. And if you own a condo, those new inspection requirements after the Surfside collapse are hitting owners with tens of thousands in special assessments they never saw coming. Orlando shows 1 foreclosure per 234 homes, Jacksonville 1 per 241, and Miami 1 per 247. This isn't random. It's systematic financial pressure that most people don't see coming. Now, let me show you exactly which states are about to see massive foreclosure increases, as I promised, all right? Alaska is up 55% in foreclosure activity. Rhode Island jumped 51%. Wyoming surged 46%. Why these states? It's not random. Alaska and Wyoming are getting hammered by energy sector volatility. Rhode Island is dealing with manufacturing decline. These are early warning signs of broader economic stress. But here's what's really telling. Look at the timeline differences. The average foreclosure process now takes 762 days nationally. But in Wyoming, it's just 125 days, while Louisiana stretches to an insane 3,612 days. What does this mean for you as an investor? In fast states like Wyoming, you need to move quickly. In slow states like Louisiana, you have time to research and strategize. The geographic concentration is intense. Lakeland, Florida has one foreclosure for every 172 homes. Atlantic City and Columbia, South Carolina, both show rates exceeding 1 in 200 homes. These aren't just statistics, these are investor hunting grounds. Here's where things get really interesting regarding high-earning tech workers. The unemployment rate sits at 4.3%. Sounds great, right? Wrong. This number is hiding a catastrophe. 800,000 people have already lost their jobs in 2025. Technology companies have eliminated over 240,000 positions since 2024 began. Intel alone fired 24,000 people. That's 20% of their entire workforce. Microsoft cut 15,000. Meta eliminated 3,600. Google's slashing teams left and right. Amazon laid off 14,000 managerial workers in the past year. The federal government, they've axed 300,000 workers through DOGE cuts. Tech companies have dumped 89,251 workers, up 36% from last year. And here's what should terrify you. August alone saw 86,000 more layoffs, the highest for that month since the pandemic. These aren't minimum wage jobs. These are people making $150,000, $200,000, even $300,000 plus per year. Here's the kicker. Unemployed homeowners show 4% higher mortgage default rates than employed ones. Federal Reserve research proves that 94% of housing price variation can be explained by unemployment rate changes. So when high-earning tech workers lose their jobs, they don't just downsize, they often can't afford their mortgages at all. But it gets worse. Among people under 35, home ownership dropped to 37.4%, down 1.1 percentage points. Government-backed loans are showing serious stress. FHA loan delinquencies surged to 11.03%, up 57 basis points quarterly. VA loans reached 4.7% delinquency. These are the canaries in the coal mine. But here's the numbers that should terrify you. 1 million American homeowners are currently behind on their mortgage payments right now. That's almost 1 million families one step away from foreclosure proceedings. And with layoffs accelerating and credit card debt spiraling, that number is only going one direction, up. Imagine if even half of those delinquent mortgages become foreclosures hitting the market simultaneously. We're talking about 500,000 plus distressed properties flooding inventory into the market. Prices would crater in affected areas, panic selling would spread, and the lucky few with cash would have their pick of properties at 30 to 50% discounts. It would make 2010 look like a warm-up. Let's talk about why this crisis is different from 2008. The median home price hit $422,600 in August 2025. With mortgage rates at 6.3%, the typical buyer faces a monthly payment of $2,326, assuming they can scrape together an $85,000 down payment. The Housing Affordability Index sits at 94.4, meaning the median income family cannot afford the median priced home. Think about that. The average American family can't afford the average American home. First-time buyers have been decimated. Their market share cratered to 24%, the lowest since tracking began in 1981. The median first-time buyer age jumped to 38 years old. To compete, these buyers need a median household income of $97,000, up $26,000 in just 2 years. Even then, 67% of renters report they can't afford the down payment, while 49% can't handle the monthly mortgage payment. For those earning $75,000 annually, only 21.2% of available listings remain within reach. Remember I mentioned credit card delinquencies matching 2008 levels? Here's the full picture. Total household debt reached $18.04 trillion by Q4 2024. Credit card debt hit $1.21 trillion. But here's the scary part. 7.18% of credit card balances transitioned to serious delinquency, 90 plus days late. That exact percentage? It matches what we saw during the 2008 financial crisis. The average credit card APR sits at 22.25% for accounts accruing interest. When you combine that with inflation still running 2.9% annually, you've got millions of Americans trapped in a debt spiral that makes their mortgage payments impossible to maintain. The Federal Reserve cut rates to 4 to 4.25% in September 2025, but it's too little too late. Mortgage rates remain stuck around 6.35%, creating what we call the lock-in effect. Homeowners with 3% mortgages from 2020 to 2021 refused to sell and take on 6% plus rates. constraining inventory and trapping potential buyers. Now here's who's really buying these distressed properties and how you can join them. Foreclosure properties typically sell at 20 to 40% discounts to market value. Banks are accepting 70 to 80 cents on the dollar in competitive neighborhoods and 50 to 60% discounts in truly distressed markets. The 36,505 REO properties banks repossessed in 2024 represent a 97% decrease from the 2010 peak, creating a scarcity value. States with the highest REO activity: California, 3,466, Illinois, 2,858, Pennsylvania, 2,828, Michigan, 2,629, and Texas, 2,501. Offer the deepest pools of opportunity. Fix and flip strategies are delivering massive profits for those who execute well. National average gross profits hit $70,250 in Q3 2024, translating to 28.7% ROI. But here's the secret. Properties under $225,000 generate 46.4% median profit margins. Buffalo, New York leads with 127.8% ROI. Reading, Pennsylvania delivers 124.9%. Pittsburgh achieves 120.6%. The average flip takes 162 to 164 days from purchase to sale, with 63.2% of flippers using cash to avoid financing delays. Let me give you 3 specific strategies based on your capital level. If you have $25,000 to $50,000, start with wholesaling. Find distressed properties and assign contracts for $5,000 to $20,000 fees. Focus on Texas, Florida, and Arizona, where population growth drives steady demand. Master the 70% rule. Never pay more than 70% of after-repair value minus repair costs. If you have $150,000 to $500,000, well, look at you. Target fix and flip opportunities under $225,000, where margins reach 46.4%. Pennsylvania markets lead returns due to low acquisition costs and steady demand. Secure hard money lending relationships at 9.25 to 11.99% rates before you need them. If you want passive income, use the BRRRR strategy. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Target B-class multifamily properties with 4.92% cap rates in secondary markets. Cities like Memphis, Oklahoma City, and Wichita offer strong fundamentals with lower entry points. And here's where things get interesting for timing. The National Association of Realtors projects 2 to 3% home price growth in 2025, expecting existing home sales to jump 9%. Zillow takes the opposite view, forecasting a 2% price decline after multiple downward revisions. Goldman Sachs predicts 3.2% growth in 2025, but just 1.9% in 2026. JP Morgan assigns a 40% recession probability for 2025 and expects the market to remain largely frozen. But here's what they all agree on. Mortgage rates won't return to the sub 4% levels of 2020-2021 anytime soon. NAR expects rates between 6 and 6.4%. Fannie Mae projects 6.4% by end of 2025, declining to 5.9% by the end of 2026. This crisis differs fundamentally from 2008. Current foreclosure filings represent just 14% of the 2008 levels. Homeowner equity totals $32.8 trillion, a record. The average homeowner holds over $300,000 in equity compared to many having negative equity in 2008. But new vulnerabilities have emerged. Climate-related insurance costs, particularly in Florida, where premiums rose 25% annually, represent an entirely new foreclosure driver. Student loan debt exceeding $1.7 trillion constrains younger buyers. The lock-in effect creates market paralysis unknown in 2008. The bottom line, we're at the beginning of a massive opportunity cycle. 60% of industry professionals expect 1 to 4% foreclosure increases in 2025. Position yourself now before this becomes obvious to everyone else. Build relationships with asset managers at banks holding those 36,505 REO properties. Focus on states like California, Illinois, and Pennsylvania that lead in inventory. Remember, the best deals in 2025 won't be advertised. They'll come from relationships built before the distress becomes public. The data doesn't lie. The opportunity is real. The question is, will you be ready when it fully unfolds? If this information helped you understand what's really happening in the market, smash that like button and subscribe for more insider analysis, and drop a comment below. Are you seeing foreclosure activity increasing in your local market? Let's discuss in the comments. Remember, in real estate, the biggest money is made during uncertainty.